I leave this girl unsupervised, maybe 15 minutes. She gets from the other side of the apartment into my shelves and she knocks over my fish fossil. This is so sad. I should have locked her away. It's still daytime. Why are you even out? You destroyed my fish fossil. At least she did not destroy my microphone. Still, I'm sad. So yes, one fateful day, I decided to risk leaving my snake unsupervised in my apartment for a few minutes to bring the trash downstairs, and it so happened that in my absence she decided to wake up and move out from the corner she was sleeping in to come scale my IKEA shelf and knock down my fish fossil. Luckily, I managed to find and resort most of the pieces. The question now was, how can it be fixed? My first idea was just glue it together with super glue, but that seemed like quite the hassle, and I don't know how stable the outcome would be, so instead I had another idea. What if I submerged the thing in resin? Is this less of a hassle than using super glue? No idea, but I was determined to give it a go, and so began my journey into resin. Hello and welcome to this video where I, a human being who has never worked with resin ever, will be attempting to restore my fish fossil. I was originally also planning to document 2 other resin projects in this video, but as I don't think anyone would want to sit through 40 minutes of me rambling about resin, I have split these projects up into other videos that I will post at some point in the future. First, let's go over some of the materials I will be using to achieve these aims. Firstly, we have this resin set that I bought using an art store voucher I got as a gift from my PhD graduation ceremony, which is probably the only good thing to have come from my PhD. I then bought some things off Amazon, which I paid for myself, and I think in total I dropped around 30 euros on all of these items. Firstly, we have this bag of shimmery fake metal flakes in the colors copper, silver and gold. I think they could look really cool when sprinkled into the resin. I was also very lucky to find this rectangular silicone mold on Amazon that has very similar dimensions to my fish fossil, so I think my fossil could fit inside it quite nicely. So yeah, that concludes the haul. Wish me luck. The first thing I did to prepare my fossil project was to calculate the approximate volume of the silicone mold by filling it up with water so that I would later know how much resin to fill in. Basically, I planned to create a base layer, let it dry, put the fossil on top, and then pour over it to encase everything. I decided to use 100 milliliters for the base layer. Before commencing, I also made sure my working surface was relatively even, and then I was ready to mix some resin for the very first time. So it says pour 1 dose of crystal hardener B, followed by 2 doses of crystal resin A, and then we mix. Do I shake before use? Maybe. No, we do not shake before use. As a matter of fact, you will see me make a lot of stupid mistakes that I wasn't aware of at the time, but I will point them out to you so you can avoid them. 1. Okay, now resin A. 1. Oh, shoot. Okay. While I really like the brand of resin I am using here, compared to the other brands I use later on, this one has the least amount of bubbles. My gosh, are the bottles a nightmare to use. It's really hard to pour the exact amount of resin without spilling at least a bit. It's a very impractical design. In general, when using resin, I realized that the closer you stick to the recommended ratios, the better your resin will turn out. Mix well, it says. How do we know if I mixed it enough? To answer my own question, we know if the resin is mixed when it becomes clear. Also, I have since switched from using a paper cup and a wooden stick to mix to using a silicone cup and a silicone stirring stick, as this method introduces less bubbles when stirring. I stir for at least 3 minutes to ensure that my resin has the right consistency. I then let it sit for a few more minutes to let most of the bubbles escape before I start using it. Okay, pour into the surface of choice. How hard can it be? We're gonna wing it. Here we go. Okay. This is like pouring a gel. For any biologists out there, have you ever poured an agarose gel? This is basically a very similar consistency, except I think this one takes a lot longer to dry. Imagine having to wait like 12 hours for an agarose gel to dry. So apparently I have like 1 hour 45 minutes to work with the resin. So I got my gold and now I'm gonna plop that in there. After successfully adding my gold flakes, I then covered the mold with some baking paper to let it dry free from dust. And now it's time to add the fossil. First, I poured a small layer of resin on the dried bottom layer to reduce the possibility of trapping air bubbles under the fossil when I put it on top. Next, I took the individual components of the fossil and coated each part in a layer of resin. Again, this is to reduce the likelihood of any bubbles getting trapped. I should have used gloves for the other hand, but what we're going to do now is... Then I assembled my fossil on the resin. Plop it in. Don't really know what the position is going to be yet, but like hopefully I'll be able to rearrange it, move it around. In case you're wondering what kind of fossil this is, it appears to be of the fish species Knightia eocaena, which is a species belonging to an extinct genus in the herring family living during the Eocene, so around 50 to 30 million years ago. This species is said to be one of the most commonly occurring fossils on Earth, and it is often found in the Green River Formation in Wyoming, which is a fossil bed. It is for this reason that it can easily be legally purchased. I bought mine when I visited London at a market stand on Portobello Road. I don't remember the exact price I paid for it, but I think it must have been around £20, which is why I'm not too distraught about experimenting on this fossil with resin. I then decided to incorporate the leftover pieces into the mold by scattering them around the fossil itself. And then I topped everything off with another smattering of gold flakes. Next layer, next layer, next layer. Let's go. Looks good, huh? After pouring, I used a toothpick to rearrange my gold flakes and remove some bubbles. And now, all that's left is to let it dry and be done with the project. Right? Well, unfortunately, it appears that it is not that simple, as after a while, a big fat bubble started emerging from the cracks of the fossil. I do have around 1 hour before this thing completely more or less solidifies, so I'll keep poking at them with a toothpick until then, and hopefully at some point they will stop emerging. Bubble, 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 pop. Oh, like it's 2008. Oop, for the Asian markets in the 90s. Boop, boop, boop. Hallelujah! It looks like the bubbles finally stopped emerging. Well, more or less. There's a tiny one here. Go away, go away. And one here. We have none left here, so I think they finally finished bubbling. Go, oh, wait. Go away. Okay, there we go. So I spent the next 1 hour playing whack-a-mole with the air bubbles. And then in the evening I left to be social. Shocking. Yeah, and then I came back to this. So it's solidified and we have this fat bubble here, here, and here. Apparently resin can be sandpapered down to remove things like bubbles, and then another layer can be added to hide the imperfections. So that's what I attempted to do. Okay, so this could be either an epic win or an epic fail. Let's actually see what happens if I... Ooh, ooh. Look, this one disappeared. I'm kind of vibing with this. You see that? The scratchiness has disappeared. I am so shocked. Can you see where the bubbles were? And now, are you ready for the biggest demolding of them all? Look. Is this so exciting? Oh wow, this is actually pretty good. If we look at the back, we do see some trapped air, but I mean, overall I really can't complain. The side view, nothing too spectacular there. Bottom view, is it perfect? No. But I mean, considering I had no idea what I'm doing, I think it's alright. And here it is, back in its shelf, next to the Gundam, the segment of the Berlin Wall, Vincent van Gogh eraser, and my newest acquisition from the Natural History Museum in London, this beautiful Quetzalcoatlus. So, yep, just can't let the snake up there again. I did add a final resin layer to get the surface to be a bit smoother and have a more domed finish. Overall, I'm quite happy with how it turned out, especially considering that this was my first attempt at doing something in resin. No idea how many people actually watched this video to the end, as this isn't my usual genre of content, but if you did, thank you very much. I am planning to make another resin video focusing specifically on the types of things you can create with snake shed and resin. Although I should warn you, most of my content tends to be about my pet snakes, with the occasional rambly video about other subject matter. I'd also like to thank everyone for the 500 subscribers. Again, in the grand scheme of things, that might not be a lot, but to me personally, it's a big deal. Yeah, so thank you for that. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye! Basically, I plan to create... Oh, for fuck's sake, stop messaging me! I'm trying to record.